Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It has been a full week and I'm very proud. I'm back in full force and I've got absolutely nothing new to report to you other than the fact that my life looks like eat, sleep, train, work, repeat. And then the kids week, eat, kids, sleep, kids, work, train, repeat. But I have actually got some fun things to share with you today. In fact, this is something that I don't normally do a whole lot of, and it's really been overwhelming trying to choose all these things. Just a couple of outfits going on through here. Actually, got quite a few clothes to sort through here. So, as you can see, I am very organized for my new shoots coming up. It is a full-time job, so I actually had some help this time around. It takes a lot to kind of coordinate because you can get good shots and then you can get great shots. And from my experience through all the photo shoots that I have done, there's usually like one or two outfits usually that it just doesn't come to life. The backgrounds just don't look so good. So you've got to have lots of options. And especially like I'm someone that does content pretty much every day, and it's usually like try to teach you about this or show you about this exercise or educate you on sleep. I have to do a lot of different types of things. So it has been very fun. Carolina, our assistant, actually came up today and went through everything. She is like the bargain shopper of all time. She was telling me like, hang on, this little bag here is full of gold and some color, $1 a piece. I'm like, how did you find that? So we've done really well. There's still a little bit to go, but we're planning to do some shoots here at our house. We have a great set for like the swim stuff. And then we're also still trying to find a gym location to do all of the sporty things. So that's new. I am going to see our costume dress bikini designer this afternoon. So I am very excited for that. I'm always a bit nervous before I see it for the first time because you truly just give, and you say, take it, do what you want, you're the designer. Like, just make it look amazing and pretty. So there's that. What we've got coming up for the next couple of weeks is a little bit of madness. We are having one little family get together over the weekend. We're taking the kids down to Clearwater for a beach day. So hopefully they both stay healthy. One of them has just tested positive to COVID. The other one was vomiting and sick this morning with a high fever. So I'm just like, oh no. So hopefully they pull through and wake up without anything, otherwise we will not be going anywhere. So we've got that coming up, and then next week it's really like the push to the finish, because after that I'm flying out to Texas. I'm going to be doing a pretty intense week of training, and then I fly straight from Texas to Vegas ready for the show. So it's about 3 weeks tomorrow until the show day. So one of the things that I always find really interesting, and I do want to talk about uneven distribution of body fat in women specifically, because people will often ask, hey, you know, how do I train or how should I diet if I've got, you know, a significantly greater amount of body fat on my, you know, lower body, hips, glutes, thighs. And the first thing that I want to talk about, I guess, is like why? Why do females have more body fat in their lower extremities? And part of it's to do with, number one, the sex hormones, and there are some significant differences between males and females. But part of that is for reproductive purposes. So males will typically store their body fat very centrally, and unfortunately, like central adiposity and visceral fat is not so good to have. We want to keep our visceral fat levels quite low because that increases our risk of various diseases. Now for women, we actually don't tend to store that much body fat there. It's primarily in our lower half, and that is to protect our, you know, offspring. If we're going to have a child, we don't want to have all that extra excess body fat in that area, which would increase the risks of your pregnancy. So we store it down below, and then it also acts as an energy reservoir for the period in which a mother actually goes through breastfeeding. So their energy requirements slightly increase during that time, and it's basically like, hey, we are just going to make sure that not only do you have this baby, you're going to have enough energy available to feed it as well. So, you know, thinking about this from an evolutionary perspective, yeah, we needed that. If we distributed fat evenly or more centrally like males, that wouldn't be the case. And I was actually doing some reading on this the other day. So up until about 16 to 8 years of age, boys and girls actually tend to have increases in their sex hormones and their body fat levels. So not only the number of fat cells, but the size of the fat cells. It's fairly even up until about that age 6 to 8 range. But from age 8 and onwards, women tend to have an extremely greater or disproportionately more body fat storage. And I think part of that is also influenced by the male frame. They're bigger, you know, they have a larger body mass, and thus their metabolism, because they carry a greater, you know, muscularity, is going to be a little bit higher. That's kind of the background about females and why we have more body fat there. In reality, first off, it's so normal. I think so many women are like terrified, embarrassed, they have shame, like, you know, it shouldn't be that way. And my first, you know, comment back to that is that's so normal. Society has pushed like what a female's normal or ideal physique should look like to such an extreme. I think previously it used to be very much, you know, skinny and tall is best, like going back to the, you know, 70s and 80s, the models certainly looked that way. Nowadays it's shifting towards more of a, hey, you know, strong women, female power, rah rah, we're all lifting weights, we're getting muscular, but you've got to be super shredded and lean now, you know, it's always so much pressure. I really want to try and normalize that body fat mass in that area. We should all be a little bit more, I guess, compassionate to ourselves, because that's how we are made, and there's a very good reason for that. However, the sport of bodybuilding doesn't really care, and that's why it is a difficult sport to be in. And I'm not saying, hey, yeah, I condone this sport, this is what the body should look like, but it's certainly been a pastime for me, and I can also see pros and cons for being in the sport, but that's another video. So if you are wanting to slightly reduce your body fat in that area, the good news is how you train compared to somebody that doesn't have a large amount of body fat in that area, but perhaps they have the exact opposite. So imagine if you've got, say, 40 pounds to lose from your lower part predominantly, and then we've got, you know, a clone of you who also has 40 pounds of body fat to lose, but maybe that 40 pounds is predominantly in their upper body. The amount of time that it would take both of you to get to your goal, let's say you finally diet for however many weeks it might be, you're both going to take the exact same amount of time if you have applied the same calorie deficit through diet and through exercise. The struggle is when it is so disproportionately situated in your lower region, it takes a lot longer to feel like you've made progress. You'll start to see a very lean, muscular upper body. Some people often will see that they start to lose it through their face, you know, their whole face starts to change shape. I know for me, mine does. I'm very I guess voluptuous in my cheeks, you know, in my off season, which is normal. You know, I can put a bit of body fat on in my face, and then the leaner I get, I'm like, and there go my cheeks, and oh, look at my orbitals. I can see straight through my eyes. It's just how it is. So the only way to get to the place that you want to be in your lower body is, if that place is your focus, is time in the deficit. And sometimes you can't achieve it all in the one fat loss phase. That's where we kind of reintroduce that reverse dieting concept, maybe have a little bit of time at maintenance, build up some muscularity perhaps in your upper body to kind of help even it out so that you don't feel so, I guess some people will refer to themselves as like very scrawny or very lean. So feeling out your muscularity in your upper body can help make it look a little bit more balanced as you lose body fat. But yeah, everything else really stays exactly the same. The deficit that you do is going to come down to your training or your diet, a combination of both. If you're trying to do things quickly, whether or not you're trying to get it all off the upper body or the lower body, it really comes back to the degree of the calorie deficit. If you want to go faster, expect there to be a greater, drop below your maintenance. It might be, 500 calories below maintenance or 700, whatever it might be. That can be frustrating, but I would just encourage you to also give yourself a little bit of love during that time because it is so normal. So over to me, let's have a look at this. So I am using our Coaching Out Carbon Diet Coach here, and I have got pulled up on the screen my entries or calories for this week. So I haven't completed the week yet. I've already tracked a few things that I want to have on the weekends. You can see here on the screen, there's a couple of days, Saturday and Sunday, where I've already got a little bit of information in there. So right now, as it stands, my average calorie intake is 984. It will not be staying that way, I assure you. My current calorie targets are about 1250. So It sounds extreme. Yes, I'm 171 centimeters tall. I'm currently 139 and a half pounds. This is what I have to do if I've got such a short time frame to lose a very, well, it's not a lot. It's less weight than I've had to in past, but for the time frame it is. I'm pushing about 1% of my body weight every single week. So it's been aggressive from the get-go, and I knew that going in, but I've actually been okay. In fact, tonight we're going out for a business dinner and I have already allowed myself 2 glasses of wine. So I'm like, hey, I can still do this. It's just prioritization. The one thing that I don't think that I have done super well just yet, and I guess I won't show the 2 days over the end because it'll incorporate it, but my protein. So I'm currently sitting at 125, which is okay. If I go to my targets, 126. Not bad after all. All right, I was about to just say I did a terrible job, but I have proven myself wrong. So I'm doing okay with protein this week, which is great. Carbohydrates, again, we won't worry about showing you the 2 days ahead, but I'm averaging 124 at the moment. And then for fats, averaging a very hefty 27, and that's me at the bottom. Like, I wouldn't want to go any lower than that, otherwise I would start to risk some essential fatty acid deficiencies. I'd start seeing a host of different hormonal-based problems, which no one wants to have. So that's kind of how my week's gone. The scale hasn't moved a whole lot, which is a little bit scary, but I've also got to backload a little bit of my training this week and my steps. So usually at this point in the week, it's now Friday, I would have already completed all my resistance training and I would have already done all my steps, which is, I guess, working out to be about 55,000 to 60, and I would have already done a spin class. And at this point, I have only done 3 of my training sessions. I have not hit my steps. I'm still behind from some of the days earlier in the week when I was super busy working. So my weight isn't moving down quite as quickly as I would have liked it to. So I'm hoping by Monday, when I do my check-in over the weekend, I'll see a little bit more of a drop, because more of my energy expenditure still needs to be done to get down in weight. So yeah, I have to say I'm a little bit nervous, and I always get a little bit confident because for me, again, like you guys potentially, my upper body always gets pretty lean pretty quick. I don't have a huge amount of upper body fat except for my back. So when I start to see that, it's like, oh, I've got a pip in my step. I'm feeling really confident, but my legs still have a long way to go. So I'm going to be pushing very hard for the next few weeks. I've been doing 3 20-minute sessions on the Peloton, so still 60 minutes. I've broken it back into that 20-minute interval because 30 minutes at the moment for me, I'm just feeling like I'm gassing out and the last 10 minutes aren't very effective. Yes, it means I have a 3rd session on the bike. It's a higher quality session by doing it that way. So I am currently blitzing my training program. I cannot wait to bring that to you guys. It is a shoulder and a glute focus with a little bit of everything else, but not much. Most of the volume is going into those muscle groups. So that will be going live onto the Workout Builder here very soon. Make sure you go and check it out. We do have other programs that have gone live just this week, which is super exciting. They are at-home programs and they are gym-based programs, circuit work. So a lot of fun stuff happening over here. We've got some awesome competitions going. We've got our spring into summer people that started back in July, and then we've also got about 1 week left if you are wanting to get signed up to our Team Biolayne Coaches campaign, which is our 16-week diet and lifestyle remodel event. And that will be kicking off on August 8th, and the final day to sign up to that particular event is August 1st. So we do not have long. You've got about a week to go. All those details are going to be available for you in the description below, or you can reach out to us at our website, which is just biolayne.com. Head over to that coaching page and you can direct DM me, or you can reach out to any of our coaches. So I think that's it from me, guys. Have a fantastic weekend ahead, and I look forward to seeing you next week.